Good evening, everyone. Hi, this is Sherry Sims, founder of Black Career Women's Network, and welcome to another segment of our Career Smarts Masterclass. And tonight's special guest is Miss Natasha Nurse, and she is the founder of Dressing Room 8. Now, I'm going to have her tell us all about what Dressing Room 8 is in just a moment, but I want to share with you guys what Career Smarts is. Career Smarts is our professional development series, and what it's all about is getting career smart. You know how people always talk about getting street smart or being book smart. So this is all about getting career smart. And what we do is we bring on experts like Natasha to help us to get clarity and get strategies, and then offer solutions to help you to get clear so you can move forward in your career. So tonight our topic is going to be about the power of resume storytelling and how to craft your resume to tell your story. So I'm very excited to have Natasha on tonight to just kind of give us a whole bunch of tips around storytelling on your resume. And I think this is a great topic to talk about for women who are either currently looking for a job or are looking to transition to a new position. Even if you are applying for an internal position within your company, this is still good information for you to be able to have. So, of course, you can find us on Twitter at BCW Network or BCW Network CEO. Natasha, where can they find you on Twitter if they want to ask a question or two?
Dressing Room, the number 8.
Dressing Room number 8. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Natasha. She can share with us who she is and what Dressing Room 8 is all about. Take it away, lady.
Yes. Okay. So thank you for having me. It's such an honor and privilege to be a part of your series. And a little bit about me. So I'm a lawyer by trade, and I was not very happy actually in my non-traditional legal career. So I decided to take the plunge and be an entrepreneur. And so I wanted to really focus my work on something that I was passionate about, something that was near and dear to me, which is the empowerment of women. And primarily, I would say I do that through coaching and consulting women business owners, women creatives on the idea of like being more innovative, being more out of the box when it comes to how you approach your social media, how you approach event planning, and just business strategy. And it's been fun. It's been about 3 years. I started in 2015. And tonight, what brings us together is definitely when I was, pick it up, let's be career smart, right? And I think that the key to having a great resume is a lot of times it's your entree, right, into even being considered for opportunities. Now, granted, you might be on a career path where everything you've had has been based on a conversation or networking, which is definitely, I would say, a bigger trend for how people, get to the next level in their career. But a lot of times you are just stuck with that computer engine. You got to submit the resume, make sure you're submitting quality stuff, things that you want to represent you. So I think that's the value of what we're going to talk about today.
Awesome. Okay, for those of you who are viewing, make sure that you can put your questions in the comments section in the Facebook group. We do have our phones to be able to see that as well. I know that we're using Be Live TV. They've kind of changed up a couple of things because of the Facebook restrictions. Shame on you, Facebook. But anyway. So we have our phones up. So if you do have some questions, we should be able to see those through here as well. So make sure that you ask questions to Natasha. Now, Natasha, first, tell us this whole thing about resume storytelling. I was in corporate HR for a long time and did recruitment. And so I think this is a great topic to talk about tonight, about telling your story, because a lot of people don't know how to tell the story if they have gaps in their employment, out of work for a while, maybe they did different jobs and are looking to kind of really have a career. So they need to know how to paint the story about the journey, right? So I know you said you have like 8 tips or 8 things you want to share tonight with us in reference to what this, how this goes. So tell me, how did you come about to be thinking, to really kind of craft this in terms of resume storytelling? Where did this all come from for you?
So I really thought about the idea of storytelling because a lot of my clients are looking to, on the coaching side of things, they're looking to get a new job. They're looking to get to the next level. And, a lot of that is you have to have some type of documentation you have to share with people primarily it being your resume. And so if you're not sharing essentially the journey with whoever's reading it, and you're just kind of writing stuff down and it's not really making sense, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, unfortunately. And to be honest, at the end of the day, storytelling is a part of everything we do in life. You have to storytell when you meet people in person. So why wouldn't you have to do this for your resume, right? It's kind of second nature. And I think that kind of like what you said earlier about the gaps in the resume or having to explain the jumps and stuff like that, which is very common. Why? Because people typically are changing jobs every 2 to 3 years, right? If not even sooner. So you have to be able to explain this. And so many people, I feel, get a little shamed about the idea of that maybe there's a lack of clarity in what they were doing. Like maybe they were a recruiter and now they're a paralegal and now they're like a brand, you know, what is that? Brand
strategist or
yeah, something like that, you know? And it's like, no, but there's a common thread between everything, which is you. And so why did you take this job? What did you learn from this job? How did this make you holistically better for what's coming next, right? You have to take a step back and think about, you know, everything we do has value. We've all done a lot of different stuff, right? I've done retail. I've done a lot of different things. It's not, you know, for naught. It's it's all a part of the process of what makes you who you are in this moment. So that's essentially, I'm dedicated to the idea of like helping people be better storytellers. And it's like your resume is definitely needs to be a part of that process.
Right. So let's go ahead. Let's jump right in specifically and talk about your first one of your 8 tips. Yeah, your point. Okay. Your 8 points. So what's the first one?
The first one is your resume real estate matters. And so what do I mean by that? We have 1-page document. I will repeat that. A 1-page document. Unless you have 20 years of experience, then okay, you have your badges. You can move on to page 2. But most of us, if you don't really have a career that's like, you know, like necessary to have more than 1 page, you're working with 1 page, you know, 8x11 document. Every margin adjustment, every space matters. So you really, you know, from just thinking about what can I possibly say in this 1-page document is really important. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. And I don't know if you'll tell me if we have questions and all that good stuff.
I will in a little bit. And okay. Hopefully we should be able to show them on the screen. Hopefully. I told you they've got these issues going on right now. So I like that. So resume real estate matters, right? So now in terms of, let's talk about the real estate portion. So our viewers can understand, kind of break down what the real estate piece means.
Okay, so that essentially leads to my second tip, which is your resume should not read like a McDonald's job application. What? No shade at McDonald's. I'm just saying that ultimately I see too many people having, now I love bullet points. I think in checklists, the Virgo in me loves a checklist. But when we're bullet pointing under each job, you know, experience, we have to make sure that it's not just straight and dirty and it's not like verbose enough. We want a little bit of beauty here. We want a little bit of explanation, right? Like if you were, a brand strategist, you know, what does that mean? That's 2 words. Like you need to break that out. What does that mean for social media? What does that mean for conferences? What does that mean for like business strategy? What the hell did you do? Right? Like you gotta really break that out. And so that's the real estate where you take your resume, and obviously you have to have the heading, which talks about who you are, right? Name, address, email address, contact information. Don't hide the ball, guys. Give people what they need. And on the bottom, I always advise ending with like your interests, your, you know, kind of specialty interests. And in between those 2 portions is what we're talking about. So between X years, when did you start working? What's your current thing? You gotta use up that real estate and partition things out. If you were at a company, but you had 3 different roles, don't just put everything under one thing. You've got to share the story. Maybe you started as this and then you grew, right? And like really make sure that it's clear. Oh, they were here for 15 years, but they had like 5 different jobs. That's really cool that they grew within the company, right? And really making sure that the person reading your resume.
So another part of that sounds like that they show the
Yes, definitely. Because a lot of times, right, you don't necessarily automatically get asked for an interview. So you want to make sure that that resume is that like that real good, like, oh no, she's awesome. Like we want to speak with her. And the only way to show that is to, yeah, show your career growth. Show the different sides of your careers that like the what you've done, right? Maybe you started learning tech and social media in the last 5 years of your career. That matters, man. Like people want to know that if you can run newsletter campaigns, if you can run social media campaigns, like that stuff isn't for, kicks and giggles. Like that's really important. Even if it's not a requirement of your job, showcase that you are not just a regular candidate coming through this door, that you are that MVP, that this company in front of you needs you more than you need them, essentially.
Absolutely. And I think showing progression means it shows that you have some ambition, some drive, that you definitely have goals, right?
Yes, absolutely.
To develop and grow. And so I think that's a great initiative. Oh, I hear that. I hear that calling me. Okay. All right. And so I think that's a great initiative. So go ahead to was that number 2?
3. That was number 2, that your resume should not read like a McDonald's job application. Number 3 is, do you understand your own resume? I can't tell you how many times I would have a resume in front of me. I'd be speaking to a candidate and I would be like, oh, okay, Mr. or Mrs., what does this section mean? Oh, I don't know. Okay, guys, like this is your document. I didn't make this for you. You've got to know what you put on there. And I mean, I've even had someone say, oh my gosh, I should have taken that off. Come on now, come correct with life, right? If you have one opportunity to get in front of somebody, make sure you use that opportunity to shine, and that you're not so lackadaisical that you didn't read over your resume before submitting it, that you made sure that the grammar was correct, right?
Mm-hmm. And I think that I think sometimes we forget that we don't, it's our career journey, so we should be able to speak to it without necessarily having the resume in front of us.
Exactly. That too. Yeah. A lot of times I would ask people, okay, so I'd look at their resume and I'd say, okay, so what did you do here? And they're like, oh, can I see my resume? That's a big no-no. You have absolutely, that's where storytelling comes into play, right? You have to know what your resume says and what are the 3 to 4 points that you can say per job experience that you had, and actually know the date that you were there. Not be like, oh yeah, I think 2012 or maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about the dates, because as a recruiter, that was a really big pet peeve of mine. Is that if someone could not be clear, or I'm like, you can't remember when you was employed there? I mean, come on, I'm like,
I know. Get your life, like, get it together.
I mean, and as a recruiter, here's my thing, right? As a recruiter, you need to be able to, you have to verify dates of employment.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you can't give me the dates of when you remember when you worked there.
Yeah, it's problematic. It's essentially the person telling you that they're not ready for the opportunity. They're not ready for this prosperity. And it's sad, right? It's the same kind of mistake if you go into an interview dressed the wrong way, right? Now, every culture is different, right? Corporate is different than startup. So you need to know, what are you applying for? What is the company culture, right? All of that stuff is a part of the being ready, right? To be successful, you have to be ready to be successful, right? And you don't have to know everything and accomplish everything, but there's certain things that are in your corner that you as an MVP need to handle your business.
Yeah. And for you viewers, you have to learn your dates of employment. The reason why an employer wants to know that is because they need to verify those dates to make sure you actually worked there when you say you did, right?
Yes,
so yes. It's important for you to know. We're not asking for you to say, okay, I got hired on May 1st of 92. But you can say, okay, I got hired May of 1992 and I worked there until June of 93. We don't need the exact end date. But the month and the year, you need to remember those things. And I don't care. And I know if it's 20 years old, 20 years ago, you may not remember all of that. But I know in the least for the most recent 10 years, you better know those dates.
Exactly. And also consistency. I'm glad that you said that, because I think, to be honest, stylistic wise, it doesn't make sense to say, oh, I was here in 1998. I was here, June 2006. If you're going to put in a month, you got to put a month and a year throughout the entire experience. You can't you can't play games that way, because it makes it seem like you're trying to hide the ball. Why are you hiding? Because you're going to have to verify it, right? So it doesn't make sense.
No, I so agree. So I just think it's important to hello. I think someone's saying hello. You guys, we can't see them. Just so you know, I cannot see the names in the Facebook Live, but I mean inside of the Be Live TV, but I should be able to see them in. I should be able to see them in the actual Facebook group itself.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
just so you know.
Yeah, there's 5 comments. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Tracy said hi. DeVay said hi. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for putting your names, you guys, because we can't see the names. They've got it now. They've changed it up to where we can be in here, but they've hidden the names and faces, because Facebook had that whole data, breach of data thing. So they're getting pretty touchy about that stuff. Okay, all right. So the next one, let's go right to number 4.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Number four. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you're going to have to be able to have multiple resumes, guys. The one fits all does not work when it comes to your career. Because like what we were saying, sometimes you're applying for a real estate job, and then guess what? Maybe you're also applying for a paralegal job. And guess what? Maybe you're applying for an academic job. All 3 of those industries that I just said have to have different resumes. They're going to look different. There's going to be different verbiage and language. It has to tell the story for the specific industry that you're talking about. And it is up to you to do your homework and understand, what does that mean? As in academia, what are the buzzwords that you need to include to make it show that, oh, she would be an excellent candidate as an adjunct professor. As a real estate agent, you're going to want to make sure that you are showcasing, are you on the buyer side? Are you on the seller side? What exactly is your experience? What is your niche, right? What are you bringing to the table? So understanding that, like, because sometimes I feel like people are like, wait, I can't just send the same resume. No, boo-boo. Are you applying for one job at one company and that's it? Yes, then okay. But if you're out here trying to hustle and you're applying for 50 jobs, you might darn well need 50 resumes. Like, it's a part of it. And so one thing I would say is, as someone who's lived that experience, is also, I think people get caught on the number game. Like, if I apply to 1,000 jobs, I'm bound to get 100 offers. Doesn't work that way. That ROI on your effort of job application doesn't work that way. Be strategic.
No, it does not.
Yeah, be strategic. A job is not just a job, right? It's an opportunity to grow personally, professionally, and join a team. Make sure that you're applying for things that you really want to do, because guess what? The HR person, the recruiter speaking with you, it's very obvious if you're here for that check or if you're here for that experience. We know the difference. You need to know the difference as well.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, I have my Facebook up so I can see your names on here, even though we can't see them inside of here. So okay. Tracy, Sakina, hi, you guys. Welcome, DeVay, welcome. So just to let you know, so that we can see your comments and your names from here. So we appreciate that. All right, absolutely. Multiple resumes. Okay, just so you know, so some of you can have a clear understanding. We do have a couple of resume experts that are watching, like Tracy Resume Workshop. She's on here, and okay. One of the things we have to clarify, of course, is that when you have these multiple resumes, you need to make sure you're highlighting the skill sets, right, for that particular position. So be realistic about what you're bringing to the table and making sure that resume, really is matching, mirroring what you're trying to apply for, right? Absolutely. I mean, you can't just make up these resumes and don't have the skill sets to match.
No, that would be false and not very good storytelling on your part.
Right. I so agree.
Absolutely. Strategy is everything, right?
So now we're on number 5. Is that correct? We're on number 5?
Number 5 is, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, which is, don't be afraid to share your interests. Now, why do I say this? I recently did a talk with Disrupt HR in New York City. And my proposition was that, who you are matters as a candidate, right? From HR professionals looking at resumes, I want people to put their interests, right? Because what you do at your job, what your skill sets are, totally matters, right? This is going to be why you get hired or not. But also, you know what? I want to know if you happen to be like a famous poet in Singapore. Like I want to know that. Like I want to know, are you like do you have your own little thread and needling like side business? Like now, granted, certain cultures are kind of looked down on certain hobbies or like moonlighting. So again, know your industry, know what you feel like is appropriate to share. But ultimately, right. I want to know if you like networking. I want to know if you read books. I want to know who you are, because a part of good job culture is understanding who works at the job. And all of those vibrant qualities of who you are is what's going to make you a better culture fit, right? And so same thing. So like, say you're going to a culture that they are heavy drinkers and they love to like, travel, and you're like, oh, I like to stay home and go to bed at 7. Like, okay, that's cool. No shame in your game. But this might not be a good culture fit for you. So when you put stuff like that, even if you're qualified, if you're not a good culture fit, what does that mean? You're not going to enjoy their experience there. And you're like, yeah, you might get bummed out that you didn't get the job, but you might be more bummed out if you're working with a bunch of people that piss you off 24/7.
Like, and Natasha's so right, because what I have my clients do is I have them create a branding statement, a professional branding statement. Nice. And in this professional branding statement, I have them include, kind of an overview of their experience, some of their strengths, but I also have them include something personal about themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Something that could be a conversation starter, during that interview process, or even just something that can strike them in the when they see the resume, and then like, oh, you know what? Okay. Like you said, she could be a possible culture fit because of some of the interests that she's included in this branding. And some people look at an overview or, whatever. I call them personal branding statements because it really is kind of summing up who you are as a professional within a paragraph.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, you put it at the top of the resume, right?
Yes, and you put it at the top of the resume. And so I think it's good. That's a good way. And I'm going to put this in here. I know we didn't have this in your 8, but I'm going to put, your branding statement, because you should include.
Well, that's a part of the real estate, right? Like that's you got to make room for that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So if you don't have a branding statement, we definitely can work with you to craft one. You know what? I think I might do a little mini session on that. On how to create a personal branding statement. I think I'm going to do that. So I think it's important but you have to know who you are. So we've got a comment here by Tracy. So I'm kind of using my Facebook and then putting the comments up here, but it's by Tracy. Yeah. She says, nice to make yourself human as well. Truth teller. Absolutely. Yeah. And one of my clients, I had her take her branding statement. I have people read it back to me. So when when we're doing a mock interview and I said, well, tell me about yourself. And so they'll go into kind of saying some things about, I have 10 years experience doing this, I'm great at this, whatever. And then what she'll do is she'll say a fun fact about me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then she'll go into whatever the fun fact is.
Absolutely. Because we're all humans, right? We all have really cool personalities, right? If you were to like, hey, Tasha, share things about you, I'd be like, first of all, parents are from Kingston, Jamaica, big up, right? And like, there's different things about us. I'm very proud of my Jamaican American culture, as my dad likes to tell me. But I'm obsessed with elephants. Like now, granted, that's not relevant for any type of job unless I'm looking to work with elephants. But still, that might make you say, oh, that's really cool. Or, hey, I'm a Penn State grad. You know how many interviews I've gotten because people are like, Penn State? Like, we go hard. We go hard, despite the sad kind of things that are going on right now. But that's just across, I think, I'll just leave it at that.
That's okay. It's hey, I'm a Sooner fan. I'm a Thunder fan. Hadn't been the same since KD left. We're salty still, but it is what it is, right? So, Devay says, I like the fun fact idea. Absolutely. And so, I think it's great. I mean, and don't you agree that maybe you can even put the word fun fact on your resume? It's something kind of an eye catcher.
Catchy. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that. And I think that people might be like, oh, okay. Like, she's fun. Like, yes.
Yeah, I'd be like, yes, I got a few fun facts for you, okay?
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yes, a fun fact. So yeah, for you, so okay, so let's put that. Why don't you add a fun fact? Add a fun fact to your resume.
Yeah.
Again, it's a conversation starter. It definitely is something that can pique their interest.
Yeah.
Right, depending on the culture. Depending on the
Yes.
culture.
Yes. You
And
have to.
the more, yeah, the
Yeah.
more relaxed the culture is, you
Yeah.
know, more
Definitely.
than likely they'll appreciate that. All right. So,
Absolutely.
so Tracy says that she says, I love that. It's a conversation starter. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, Tracy, it is. Um, and the right culture will appreciate that.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, and real quick, I don't want to go off on this too much because I know you got some more you want to share
Yeah.
in terms of the what you have. Tracy says know your audience. Yeah, know your audience, all audiences, absolutely. So I think what I want candidates to know, job seekers to know, is that they have to be mindful of these things, right, during
Yeah.
the interview process or screening process, because just like anything else, it's like, employers can also give you red flags if they have some stuff going on, in their
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
right? And so we have to be paying attention to what that is. And during the interview process is when we need to be looking closely at that and asking the right questions. So I'm the only reason why I'm saying this is specifically because if you do put a fun fact on there, um, that should be something for you to gauge how it's received.
True. Very true. Absolutely.
You
Yeah. I
know,
mean, it needs to be appropriate for kind of what the audience is. Always know your audience.
yep, exactly, exactly. And again, when you're applying for it, if your fun fact is on your resume and you're sending it out to everyone, you can't gauge the audience until you're in that interview process. Then you can
Exactly.
gauge, what it's like or how they actually, if they don't mention it or anything like that. So it's just something to think about. All right, so
Absolutely.
we are on number
6, I
6.
believe now. So, yep, number 6 is, I want everyone to remember that we are not islands on our own, that we're a community, and you need to engage the people in your tribe to get constructive feedback, right? So you spent all night working on this resume, right? It's perfection in your mind. You're like, girl, this is bomb. Like, I'm killing it, right? And then you get it to maybe a friend who is a recruiter or an HR person, or just get eyeballs on it. And they're like, did you know you spelt this wrong? And did you see this indent not working? And oh, girl, you missed this. You've got to make sure that you get other people to view things, because their feedback is going to help you be a better storyteller. Because sometimes it's easy to miss things when you're reading something over and over again. Your mind is going to assume something's there instead of actually reading what's in front of it, right? You can kind of trick your own mind. So make sure you get enough eyeballs on it, and per resume too, right? Just because you get someone to look at your architecture resume, right? But if you're doing something not architecture, hey, get someone to look at that, right? Get feedback from your tribe, people who you trust and who you feel can give you the feedback you're looking for.
Okay, so I think that was I mean, that was really good. That was really, really good to get resume feedback. Like you said,
Yeah.
um, one of the things I do for anything I write, I kind of, I will write it and then go back to it
Yeah.
the next day so I can actually see it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I did that. And because I missed, it'll help me to see it differently
Yeah.
the next day. So no, I think it's good to, if you've got someone that's great at it, that doesn't mind editing you, who's a real good writer, or somebody that that can, like you said, put another set of eyes on it, would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, good. Okay, so what is number 7, ma'am?
Yes, number 7 is to remember that this document is an ever evolving document. And I say this not to scare everyone and be like, oh, this is never ending. This is like my life hell. No, 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 no. Your resume is an extension of you. You should be excited to read all the amazing things that you've done in your life. It's a blessing, and you should be grateful for it, no matter what types of frustrations that went with each career option. But you've got to remember that if you're doing your resume now, right, guess what? It might not be relevant 5 minutes from now, 5 days from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now. Your resume is an evolving document. So as you're continuing to network, which I hope everyone is, given the platform you're in, you really want to make sure that you're looking and you're like, maybe you want to put out your resume for feelers. Maybe you're thinking, you know what, I can get a better bang for my buck if I work somewhere else. Hey, it's time to brush off the dirt. Look at that and say, I got to add stuff in. And also kind of like what you're saying, if you take a little bit of time away from a document, you go back to it and then you're like, oh, I could say this in a totally different or better way.
Yes.
So that's the option of always making sure that you're going back and you're just looking at it and you're reminding yourself of how dope you are. And then also, hey, if you want to put out some opportunities, got to use this document.
Absolutely. And so I know that, again, you guys, I cannot see your comments in here, but I'm looking at them in our Facebook group. I'm in the Facebook group. So I see Aisha. Aisha says, I get excited each and every time I read mine or add to it. It's a confidence booster.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love your attitude about that, Aisha, because I look at my resume and I'm thinking, yeah, it's cool. But I guess when you're looking at it, you're thinking of it okay, I need to make sure it's right so I can get a job, right? You're not thinking of it as a confidence booster. So I love your mindset and attitude about your resume. Because I sure don't think about it that way.
Yeah, it is. Because remember, I think, what she's saying is important, right? Because when you're applying for a job, a lot of people come from a place of, I need this. I'm trying to, put myself in the best light because I'm coming from a place of deprivation. If you come from that place, you're not going to achieve the outcome that you want, right? If you're a practitioner of the secret, you know that to affirm and to attract what you want in your life, you have to come with the right attitude, which is, I'm amazing and I'm really excited for all the companies who can be a part of what makes me amazing, right? Think of it as they're lucky to have you, that they can learn from you as you learn from them. It's a partnership, right? Think of it from that, not the, oh girl, I have to pay my mortgage, I need this new job. That attitude is not, you're going to attract more situations that are creating more crisis. If you change your mindset, right, you change your life.
And I know it can be a little tough, right? Because when we're in the midst of doing it, we don't think like that, especially if we're in a place where, we don't have a cushion, or we're a single household income, or, that can get to you. But I think so. So Aisha also says, yes, remind yourself how dope you are. I legit told a client the other day, go read your resume, chick, you're dope.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yes, I love it. Thank you, Aisha. That's awesome. Dopeness status. Yes, queen. Yes. Yeah, you have to, because listen, as an entrepreneur, I learned that even in law school, because, in the law school process, when I was in law school, it's changed a little bit now. But when I was in, you had a final exam and that was it for your grade for the entire semester. So you're spending 3 months, crying and reading and studying, and you have one opportunity to make your grade, right? And so, you don't control that. You only control kind of how hard you study and what you're doing. So the idea of like releasing and you don't have a control on whether or not you're going to, every interview you get, you're going to get a job. You don't control that, but you do control the type of impression you make. You do control the resume you submit. You do control the type of follow-up, the thank you notes that you send out after the interview, right? We have to change our mindset. Instead of thinking about all the things that need to happen, what are things that I can do so that I can create the opportunities that I want for myself. That's the mindset.
I love it. And so Aisha also you bring it, girl. You bring it tonight. She said, I used to not feel that way about my resume until I really looked at it one day and sat down with one of my mentors, and she helped me to see it differently. I like that, and I have to, this is one of my, transparency moments for me. I think I really did not really pay attention to the trajectory of my career from a professional standpoint until I saw it on LinkedIn. Until I saw the history and saw it on LinkedIn, and I thought, Girl, you a badass. Okay, I see why you. I
Yeah.
see you got some receipts over here. Okay.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
And so I think that that's another way. I think LinkedIn is another way to kind of start
Yeah.
viewing it differently because, and I think, but I, like Aisha said, it is a mindset. How you view it, depending on where you are. So no, I like that. I like. Aisha said, I love this lady. It's like she's in my head.
Oh, thank you, Boo Boo. Yes. Great
Natasha
minds think
is
alike.
fabulous. For those of you who are just now tuning in, Natasha is the founder of Dressing Room 8, which we'll have her talk about a little bit more. For those of you who are just now tuning in, we'll have her talk about a little bit more about what it is that Dressing Room 8 is all about. Did I say nursing? That's a shame. I'm sorry, Natasha.
That's okay. People sometimes get twisted up about that. Or my favorite question is, "Ooh, are you a nurse?" And my response is Alex Baker a baker? No, it's a last name. It's
Well, I
Guyanese.
mean, it's so unique. I mean, okay, we're
Yeah,
gonna get back to the resumes in a minute, you guys. But it's so your last name really is unique. It really is. I mean, it's like because you never hear. I mean, you never see nurse as a
yeah,
last name. Because
yeah.
when I first met you, I was like, is that really her last name? Was that just kind of like her, branding name?
I can't. I could not. It is Guyanese. My husband is excited every time people make something about it. I love it. At the end of the day, though, I think what's funny is even that, like your name, that's a part of the presentation that you're making as well. And we live in an interesting culture where sometimes certain internal biases play a role
Yeah,
in how people judge you, which again I've seen people then even with their resumes, maybe their name is AJ and then a last name because maybe they're trying to kind of create the branding that gives them the most opportunities, because unfortunately when you are working with HR people have bias,
yes,
people
they
are
do.
judgmental, people
Yes,
are
they do.
critical. So
Yep.
again, how you present yourself is all up to you, right? Because you can have a nickname and you can have your government name, right? Like
This is so true. The biases are real. And so, what is kind of your take on that, in terms of telling your story through your resume? And then you do have a name that is
yeah,
culturally within our culture, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Where there could be a possible bias because they feel like they cannot pronounce it.
yeah.
What's your recommendation for them? What should they do?
So it's going to depend on the work culture, right? So if you're in a work culture where you feel like it's not very diverse and it's going to pay for you to, kind of create this pseudonym for yourself, and so say your name is Denisha or something, which is a beautiful name, but
Right.
again, if you're dealing with a sea of people that don't look like you and they're going to struggle with that and you feel like you won't even get a foot in the door, maybe, your name is Denisha Tanya, so it's DT, or Denisha and like you can use acronyms. Some people create new names like Donna, just call me Donna, because that's a very plain Jane kind of name. But ultimately, life is too short not to live your true authentic self,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if you love your name and you want to represent yourself through your name, then don't change it. There's some people who want to change their name because of even like maybe they're just not comfortable having their resume out there with their government out there. So they just kind of want to have something that's a little bit of anonymity for themselves. So you have to figure out what's going to make you feel safe and comfortable, what's going to be true to who you are, how is it going to be received by the audience that you're applying for, and then also just be confident, right? Whatever decision you make, if you decide, nah, I'm keeping it, my name is X, then rock with it, right? And be confident. But because if you're not, right, people receive that immediately. And if you don't take yourself seriously, if you're not confident in yourself, then why should anyone give you the time of day?
And
You've got to rock.
I do, you know what? And I do think also too that we have to remember that this whole with the way that the energy and way things are in America right now, the dynamics of everything with the racial tensions that's been going on
Yeah,
for a couple of years now and all that, and there's no way that things can change if we do not continue to be our authentic selves and make
yeah,
people understand and force them to understand that it's not
yeah,
us, it's you that needs to change, because you're the
Yeah.
ones who have the issues with where we are.
Yes.
So I personally think that we need to keep it authentic,
Yeah.
because
Be
it's the
yourself.
only way we can change the narrative. It's the only way we're going to
Yeah.
change the mindsets. You know, and I believe that these millennials, not millennials, but the Gen X's, or I think it's Gen Z.
Gen Z. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gen Z are coming into the picture after these millennials, but they're coming in with a mindset of not really being racist or not as biased as a lot of these other generations are. They're coming
Yep.
in and looking at people for who they are, regardless of their race, and they tend to be a lot. They like to interact a lot more with different races. They listen to all genres of music. You know, they are coming out of the gate pretty much the way it's supposed to be. And so their generation, even though it's going to take a while, to me, I think they're the ones who's going to create that shift. You know, in terms of being able to bring it back around to seeing people for who they are, and not because of the cultural differences. So
Absolutely. And one thing I would add as well is, you know, I know the idea of, you know, a missed opportunity is very upsetting, but guess what? Not everyone is for you. Not everything is for you. If a company doesn't want you because they don't like, you know, the what you're bringing to the table based on your background, then that's not the right culture fit for you, right? If a job wants you, they want all of you, not part of you, right? That's why it's important to be yourself, right? So same thing, you know, I remember when I was applying, when I was interested in pursuing more traditional legal experiences, people said, oh, you know, you and your curls, you've got to put this away. Listen, if you can't rock with my big curly hair, then that sucks for you. Like, that's a shame on you, because A, we're in a curly hair nation, guys. we're back on loving the curls, but B, I love my hair. I'm not changing my hair because it makes you uncomfortable. Like, then I guess I'm not in the right working environment, because there are other people who will say, yes, queen, yes. And that's where I need to be.
Right. And I think we have to stand in the truth of that, right? And know that if we have to stand for that so things can change. Because, you know, if one person sees you standing for another, if another woman says, well, she didn't take that job because of her natural hair, and I have natural hair, and so I'm not going to take that job because I'm not changing my hair to be in that job. So I think it's important for us to make sure that there are different examples that we see.
Exactly.
So we can continue to be authentic.
Absolutely.
Hopefully diminish or minimize the code switching, right?
Yeah.
And just really bring about our authentic selves. And you know, again, the resume is a way to open that door to the conversation, and then you take it from there. Hey, Tracy. Tracy says, "What a liquid Tracy resume, Cooper." What did she say that she missed? Oh, DeVay said that. Okay. She said, what did I miss? Okay, I didn't know what that was. Okay, here's Aisha again, our girl. I agree. Keep it authentic. She said, I used to use AJ instead of Aisha for business and on my resume. And then I said, nope, if you can master some of these other difficult names that my mom Black counterparts have, then you can also master Aisha, of course.
Exactly.
And then too, look, Aisha, you put AJ on it, they probably thought you was a guy.
Well, I know, and gender is a whole other, you know, revolution of what's going on in our society. But again, it's we as people need to be compassionate. I think that's the best. If I could have one wish for the world, it's to be kind to ourselves, kind to others. And yes, people have different names. Get over it. Like, get over your internal bias. Like, it's okay. It's okay to not, you know, be named Sam and Jane and Alice. Like, those are fine names too, but not everyone in the world has that. And if we were all meant to be it's one way, we would be. So diversity is natural, and it's important, and it's a part of society. We just got to get with it.
It's a part of society, although our forefathers probably did not design it to be that way. But oh well, when they brought us over with the boats, they should have thought about that. Exactly. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
All right. So we have one more. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And so the last one is just format, right? Your format matters. What do I mean by that? Per industry, there are certain kind of stylistic options that you should be definitely employing and using in your resume. And it's up to you to do your research and know a teacher's resume looks different from an engineer's resume, which looks different from a legal resume. You've got to know your industry. You've got to know what is the kind of the style that people are going for, what are some of the kind of the language that you definitely want to make sure you have in there. Do your homework. Again, it's the same thing. You come up, if you're going to come prepared in a suit, come prepared with having your resume look the way that it should. And also, we didn't, talk about this, but your resume has friends, right? Something called a cover letter, something called a list of references. If you need all three, if you need the trio with you when you're going places, don't miss the opportunity to come be prepared for your opportunity to have success and prosperity in your life.
Yeah, I think the format does matter. And she's right, industry specific, because different industry, for example, I used to hire pharmacists, and CVs are what they, what they use for their format. So you definitely have to understand the differences in that, making sure that you have yours accordingly. Aisha says, remember I said that they, with her name being putting AJ, they probably think she was a guy. She said, yeah, they did. And she said it was a shocker. So then when they walked in and it was a woman, I'm like, yeah, you throwing people off with that, girl.
That is too funny. But good, because they shouldn't have assumed. You know the phrase about assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Do not assume anything.
So let's go ahead and just recap the 8. I'm going to put them back up here on the screen one by one for our viewers.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, your resume real estate matters. Use your space accordingly. As you added, when you have, we have the beginning, which shares your name, your address, contact information. Don't hide the ball. We end it with our interests. And before we even begin the experiences, you have your personal branding statement or your fun fact, right? Make sure you use your space accordingly. Secondly, resume should not read like a McDonald's job application. We want a little bit of description here. We want to understand, what did you do? Why was this important? The thing they taught us back in I think grade school. Who, what, when, where, why. Those 5 W's, that is vital in everything that you're saying, whether it's in person or in writing. Make sure people understand what you did and who you are through these experiences. Number 3, understand. Oh, you're going to say something?
No, I was going to say no fast food resume.
Exactly. Number 3, we got to understand, what are we writing? If there are things that you haven't taken off your resume and or things are discombobulated, take the time to read it and review it before you send out. Sometimes, a lot of times, you see these job kind of opportunities pop up in your inbox, and you're like, oh, girl, I got to apply for this. Let me just send this. I haven't edited it since last year. Sometimes you only get one opportunity. Use it wisely. Make sure you sit down, go over everything, then put it in, because you'll reap the benefits that you want. It doesn't make sense to move fast if what you're doing is wrong. It doesn't make sense. Move with efficiency and productivity. Next is don't be afraid to share your interests. Again, companies should want to know your skill sets, but they should also want to know, what do you do outside of work? Because that's how they know what type of culture fit this is going to be for you and them. So share who you are. Be holistic in your presentation, in your storytelling. Number 6, get constructive feedback. You've got to make sure that this is a group activity, right? Our friends, we love to talk about our nails and our men and this and that. Why are we not talking about career goals? Why are we not, talking about mindset matters? Let's focus on what's really important, right? Like, yes, trashy television is fun, but guess what's also fun? Jumping in a higher level of income, getting that house you want, right? Like, achieving goals is also very fun. So if a job is a part of that solution for you, bring your tribe with you when it comes to that. 7, remember your resume is an evolving document. This isn't the Constitution, guys. Like, you gotta, you write it, and then 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 years, 5 days, whatever the time frame is, you've got to continuously change it. If you're looking to put out feelers, if you're looking to apply for something else, maybe it's internally, maybe externally, you got to change up the resume. And then lastly, format matters. Make sure your resume is matching the tone that it should for the industry that you're applying in. Time to drink water.
Okay. Take your time. Take your time. All right. I was doing a little bit slow because there's a little lag time on the Facebook with us. So I just want to make sure it showed up on the Facebook screen. So, okay. And then the last one you said is
the format matters. That was number 8. Yeah. Making sure that your format is appropriate for the industry that you're applying for.
And format matters. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So there are your 8, you guys.
Yeah.
And so, is there some place where our viewers are able to find these 8 tips from you specifically?
Ooh, well, no, not yet. But since you gave me the idea, maybe I will be importing this onto the Dressing Room 8 blog so that we can make sure that we also have this out. So because of that request, as long as you do your do a master class on how to create your brand statement, that your personal brand statement, I will absolutely bring this to Dressing Room 8 for sure.
You got it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do
Okay,
it. So for the women who who came in late to the master class,
yeah.
share with them, who you are and what you do. Just kind of
Okay, yeah. So I'm a coach and a consultant. I started Dressing Room 8, my company, about 3 years ago. I'm a lawyer by trade, and I wasn't really happy with where I was in my career. And I took the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna work harder than ever before. I want to do it for myself. I want to do it on something where I don't have to be limited, where I don't have to be told something about myself is wrong, right? Because when you keep feeling like you are the problem, you're not. It's everything around you is not working for you, especially when it comes to your career, right? If you're the box and you're trying to fit into the circle, build the box for yourself. Don't try to, kind of change yourself for something that's not really for you, right? And so I really love working with women creatives and women business owners on either growing their business or growing, a certain type of event or things that they're working on. Essentially, what I'm offering is innovation in your life, innovation in your business. I do it through my social media content. So they can find me at dressingroom8.com, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/dr8fashion, twitter.com/dressingroom8. So if you go to dressingroom8.com, you'll find me. They can email me. And I like talking about career stuff because I think it's a part of personal growth and development, but also it is, it's a part of our journey in life, right? What we spend so much time doing our work. We spend more time at work than with our own families. So
Yes, we
your
do.
work matters. What you do matters.
Yes, we do. We do spend a lot of time at work with people. They're kind of like an extension of our family. At least some of them are anyway. Some of them you kind of want to throw
Mm-hmm.
the curve, and then some you just want to embrace, right?
Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
good. So, any questions that you guys may have? I know you guys have been asking, just kind of really elaborating and talking to conversation wise with Natasha this evening. But any questions about the 8? The 8 tips that she gave in reference to resume storytelling. One of the things we want to make sure that we add in there is what we talked about too was the branding statement.
Yeah.
Making sure that we'll leave that up for a few seconds and let the lag time catch up with Facebook on that, and then also talking about the fun fact.
Yes.
So recapping the fun fact and the branding statement as well are 2 things that you can think about to help to craft your message or create a conversation starter,
Absolutely.
something personal that they can know about you overall.
What's a
So
fun fact you would share?
me,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I probably would keep it neutral and say something like I'm a Sooner fan,
Okay.
a
Okay.
Sooner fan, Thunder fan, kind of keep it sports related like that. I think
Okay.
that's kind of neutral.
Okay.
That's probably what I would do. Just, and then what happens is you'll find out, especially if you're here like in Ohio area, then you'll find out who's
Yeah.
Ohio State fan because they have the OU red kind of like ours too.
Ah,
Or,
okay.
you'll find out about Michigan State or somebody else's pro basketball team. It just kind of brings out other stuff. So that
Yeah.
would probably be a fun fact for me. And then, depending on depending on the situation, I can always like to share this particular fun fact. When my daughter was born, well, if she was going to be a boy, I was going to name her Zachary Hunter. It was going to be the first name
Oh
and the middle
wow.
name. And
Yeah.
then, so when she was born, she was in NICU, and I went to go in to get her to see her, and she was in between a Zachary and a Hunter. In between,
Oh. Oh. Okay.
get it? So if it was a boy, his name was going to be Zachary Hunter. If I had a boy,
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, wait, what?
if she was a boy, I was going to name her Zachary Hunter. Yeah, and then in the NICU, she was in between a Zachary and a Hunter, two
That's
boys
crazy.
on
That's
either side of her, and she was in the middle. And
That's nuts.
so I told her dad, I said, oh my God, I gave her the right name. I knew the name that I gave her, the female name, was confirmation I gave her the right name, because I'm like, that's such a coincidence that she was between a Zachary and a Hunter, and that would have been her
That's
name if she was a
nuts.
boy.
That is
I know.
nuts. Wow.
Yeah.
So her name is.
Her name is Milan Chanel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very cool.
Yep. And that I didn't
Awesome.
get it together. It just kind of, Milan came, and when I found out I was pregnant, then Chanel came like in 8 months. It was like, I didn't know what was going to go with it. I just had to wait and see what came, and that came. So,
Yeah.
but that's what
awesome.
I was sharing. Because every time I share that story with people and they say, what's a fun thing about you or something different, I always share that story.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right, who said boomer on here? Who said that? Let's see me get my Facebook. My sister, hey sister. She said boomer. Yeah, so I always use that. So what would you use as your fact finding? I mean, as your fun fact?
Probably proud Penn State alum who's deeply passionate about animals. I love animals, cats, dogs, elephants, everything. Also, I would probably say avid reader, published poet, and I played at Carnegie Hall when I was like 11, I believe. So, I played the flute. So, and also I'm a passionate networker. I actually like networking.
I played the flute as well.
Oh, nice. Oh,
I love it. Okay, we have a fun fact moment together, you guys.
Yes. That's awesome.
Okay, it looks like we have a question here, and let me look. I'm gonna look here. I'm gonna put it up and then look on my Facebook to see who it is. Oh, Nicole. Hey, Nicole, how are you? So she's waving. Hey.
Hi.
She says, what's your take on major resume hot topic discussions? So reference B, the antiquated ATS-L, the applicant tracking system thing. By lighting up your CV with keywords from the job description. Many job seekers hate submitting online applications because employers make it difficult for qualified candidates to get noticed in an ATS, which can reject them, even the most talented candidates. Okay, so let me answer this, Natasha, and then I'm gonna get you some feedback on that. Here's the thing, you guys. An applicant tracking system is only as good as how it is built out. Okay, and what I mean by that is employers will purchase an applicant tracking system, and each applicant tracking system comes with specific bells and whistles and tools that they can use to build it out. It's like you buy an applicant tracking system, it comes with basic things, and then it has this a la carte. And then they can choose how they want the applicant tracking system to be built out. It can get pretty costly. So a lot of times employers will not spend a lot of money or invest a lot of money into their applicant tracking system because it can get pretty expensive. Here's the deal. They do not purposely create an applicant tracking system to weed you out. They may create a pre-screening qualification questions that you need to ask that will make sure that that you have certain qualifications so they can move you to the next level for consideration. When they go into the applicant tracking system, they can put in keywords, and then your resume will show up into that list, that group from the keyword search. So it's not that you're weeding you out of anything, but you do want to make sure that you have the right type of keywords in your resume so it can come up into into their searches. Now, it all depends on what keywords they put in for their search as well, and that to be on your control. But as far as your resume getting noticed, if you have the right keywords that match what they're probably going to search for, it will show up. But it has nothing to do with rejection. It's not that you're being rejected. You're only rejected or not taken under consideration for that particular position if you're just not a match. If you're not a match, if your skill sets are not a good match on paper, and that's completely up to you to tell the story.
I love it. She brought it all together, guys. Very nice.
So what's your take on with what our viewers asking?
I mean, I would say I totally agree with you from a technical perspective. For me, I'm all about innovation, thinking outside of the box. Sometimes, if you want to get seen, it might not really be through this whole resume, kind of engine that you have to put your things in. Maybe you need to have a bomb like LinkedIn profile. Maybe you need to be connecting with people in your company. Maybe you need to find a way to have an in-person connection as opposed to just always trying to like beat the system, because the system is, as you're saying, they're different tools. You can't predict. You don't know what a la carte options, right, they put on. So at the end of the day, that's out of your control. So what do you control? How you present yourself on social media, ways that you can get noticed by a company outside of just the resume, right? So that's what I would advise. Just think outside of the box when you're really, really trying to build a relationship with people and companies.
What applicants do not understand as well is if you've got a recruiter, starting to get an echo here. If you have a recruiter who has multiple openings that they're searching for candidates for, all right, there's a volume of applicants. And I'm talking from living it. Yeah. From a recruiter's perspective. You have an opening that may have 200 resumes in it. You may have 15 job openings, and each opening may have hundreds of resumes that you have to go through every individual resume to make sure you're finding the top 3 or 4 candidates that you want to present to the hiring manager, or depending on what the hiring manager or whatever the recruiting process is for that company. The bottom line is there's a lot of volume of resumes they have to go through. Yeah. And from experience, I'm going to tell you 60% of the resumes that come through through a particular job posting, they're not qualified. Mm-hmm. And I may be stretching it by saying 60. It could be more. Mm-hmm. In terms of making sure you've got someone who really is a true, really good fit. Yeah. So sometimes I think sometimes they need to understand, does their resume get lost in the sauce? It shouldn't, because a good recruiter is going to make sure they're going through each and every one of those resumes in that requisition. A lot of times they may not. They may go through, find a really good candidate and stop right there and then send a thank you, we found, and move on, because the volume can get so heavy. So I'm just kind of giving you some back end insight to the day in the life of a recruiter when it comes to that. And I hear this so much about people talk about the applicant tracking system, but there are humans behind this who are building this out or who are driving that process. And so the ATS system is just a place to house it. And then depending on if it's built out the right way, it can actually take them through the entire hiring process all the way up into the onboarding process if it's built out right.
Absolutely.
If it's not built out right, it's just a place to dump all the resumes and then they source them through there, then it could get lost in that. So again, Natasha's right. You need to think outside the box and use other ways to get yourself noticed. My suggestion, go to LinkedIn. Yeah. Send an email to someone who is in a higher level position or level of influence that could possibly pass your name on to someone who's in HR. Mm-hmm. So there's other ways to get around it. There are other ways to get around. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with sending your email to the president or someone in the company with your resume and cover letter and stating, your interest and saying why you're a good fit for the position. Trust me, they're going to pass it on. Yeah. And it's going to get passed on even faster than it would be. You just be sitting in the applicant tracking system. So that's just some of my tidbits.
Yeah, absolutely. Dropping gems tonight.
Dropping those gems. And so it looks, let's see. Okay, so I'm hoping, Nicole, that answered your question in reference to the applicant tracking system. I hear that a lot. And, and again, I really think that a lot of times it really is about getting lost. Okay, so someone else, I don't know who this is. Let me see who this belongs to. It says here, thanks for answering. I've seen many discussions debating whether ATS is still a good tool for modern recruiting. Yeah, it is. It's still a good tool for modern recruiting. It just needs to be, they just need to use it the right way. If you use an applicant tracking system the right way, it can help you. Sorry, I had something on the screen. If you use it the right way, it definitely can. It really can streamline a recruiting process if it's used the right way. So, again, it's not ancient. It's just about it's just there's other things and methods the way you can use it, but it still has a really good purpose.
Absolutely.
For it. And then I think we have one more comment here. So I totally agree. LinkedIn profiles, networking, you must have more than one way to get noticed.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree. Any other ways you think that she get noticed before we close out?
I think always presenting yourself as a thought leader is key, right? Write articles on LinkedIn, have a blog. If you don't have a blog, no shame, right? But there's so many opportunities to have free blogs, to pay for it, and to put yourself out there as a thought leader in your space, right? Companies want to understand, why are you the MVP? And being able to explain that through what you say, through what you write, through talks and things that you do, can really make the world of a difference. And you can talk about any subject. It's not like, oh, I have to be, a nuclear scientist to have a cool blog. No, you can totally, if you're an HR person and you're looking to work at this cool new startup and you want to be the HR manager, write about startup HR issues, right? Put out content that's valuable and make it clear why the companies need you. You've got to tell your story.
Yes. So Aisha says, look at the resume as just a piece of our career story / career portfolio. Being on LinkedIn is so critical. Engaging in LinkedIn is equally as critical as being willing to contact the job poster or the department head. Conveying your interest in the role is the difference between getting the interview and getting looked over. Exactly. Now, I'm gonna say this is true. I'm gonna tell you, when I was full-time recruiting in my world, my space, I would go look you up on LinkedIn if I saw your resume. And if I didn't see a LinkedIn profile, I couldn't find you. I was like, how serious are you about your career if you're not taking the opportunity to showcase? Because LinkedIn can tell a story within itself too that sometimes your resume can't.
Yeah,
because it has a whole nother way of being able to showcase who you are. And why not take advantage of that? Why not take advantage of that way to really just showcase everything?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Okay, I just took over, didn't I? Sorry.
No, this is what you love. This is what we're all here to have in-depth conversation. So no, this is awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, and I think there's so many people out here who show you how to have a great LinkedIn profile, and there's so many great LinkedIn profiles out there. It's easy to go and just look at one and kind of give you a basis on how to do it. But I think that I will say that I have heard a lot of women, professional women in the space that I'm in when I'm working with Black women, who sometimes still do not understand or see the value in having a LinkedIn profile, or they're not really showcasing who they are in utilizing it in the right way. There's so much power and value in that. And so women, you're listening tonight, challenging you, get on your LinkedIn and get it cleaned up, get it straightened out, get it to where it's showcasing who you really are. I mean, videos and publications, and there's so many different ways that you can showcase and highlight all of those things that a 2-page resume or what have you can't. And you can also put your LinkedIn URL on your resume.
Yep, absolutely. And make sure you customize it. Make it your name, not linkedin.com 457. Branding, guys, branding. What's your name? Make that your LinkedIn profile name.
Yeah, so and a lot of times what people don't realize is that you automatically get a certain number. It'll automatically give you, but you can go in. LinkedIn has the option where you can go in and actually put your name in there. I did mine back in 2009. I'm glad I did, because Sherry Sims is such a common name. So I have the actual Sherry Sims, not Sherry hyphen.
Yeah, exactly.
So I caught it first. So yeah, that's such a clean way to do that. And so we have someone that said, I'm asked at least once a week if a LinkedIn is needed. Who was that? Is that I can't see after. Oh, Aisha was saying that. Okay. All right. And she says, yep. Leverage LinkedIn to add value. There are 1,300 characters in the LinkedIn posting section. That's about the length of a short blog. Use the characters to show your value. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, it is 9:09. We want to make sure that we are respectful of Mr. Natasha's time. We are so glad that you were on tonight. This was great. We need to bring you back.
Yay.
And for those of you who may not know, I have officially made Natasha is a BCWN mentor.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So definitely supposed to be seeing her a lot more often. And I believe she's also, if you guys want to be able to reach her, she's also, I believe you're also in the collaborative. Is that right? Are you in the
Yes, I believe
collaborative?
so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so for those of you who may not know what our collaborative is, the collaborative is our BCWN online community. So yes, we have our Facebook, but this is our exclusive online, and there's like this bug on my screen. This is annoying. Sorry. But it's our online exclusive community, and you can go to bcwnetwork.com / the collaborative and request to join. It is free to join the online community itself. So we have roughly over about 1,700 women who are in the collaborative. It is growing every day. I will tell you that it is growing every day.
Yeah.
So get yourself in there. Natasha, I believe Natasha is in the collaborative. We have her in the Ask a Mentor circle. So feel free to go in and ask her questions at any time. And then hopefully we will be seeing more of Dressing Room 8 within our BCWN, within our BCWN networking family.
Thank
So
you.
any last words you want to leave with our viewers, and then how can they find you as well?
Absolutely. So thank you again for everyone tuning in. We greatly appreciate your time and attention to this matter, because storytelling is important. It's how you grow in your career. It's how you grow in life. And ultimately, just remember, your resume is an extension of you, right? And you control how people are going to read and kind of see what you're putting out there. So, you can't control what they interpret you as, but you can control the words that they read. So make sure that you're very meaningful, that you're very conscientious about your resume and using that as a tool for the bigger success that you want to achieve, but also remembering it's not the only part of the game. You've got to use things like LinkedIn. You've got to go out to networking events. You've got to network within your friends and friends of friends and make new friends. Be innovative, guys. No one ever lived their life saying, I was too innovative. I was too creative. That makes no sense. Does not compute. Being innovative.
It doesn't, and you're right, it does not compute. I love it. I absolutely love it. And did you share where they can find you?
You can find me at natasha@dressingroom8.com. The 8 is a number, and then the website is www.dressingroom8.com. All my social is there. You'll find my LinkedIn on there. So let's connect, let's network, let's chat. And thanks again for having me.
All right. And so last thing, Aisha Patterson, who's been engaging with us, she is our Cincinnati community manager in our collaborative group. So you guys make sure that you also connect with her in the Cincinnati circle in the collaborative as well. And again, you can please join the collaborative. It is free for our online community. BCW, go to bcwnetwork.com / the collaborative. Or if you can remember this, and I'll put it up because I think I can do it, and this will be this last thing, and we will close out. Or you can go to members, bcwnetwork.com. Either
Perfect.
one. You can find it either way. All right, you guys. So I'm going to close out with this. The life God gave you is larger than the life you've been living. And God gives us all special talents and gifts, but it's our responsibility, it's our job to discover what those talents are and to use them to work in our purpose. All right. So until next time, we're going to be doing another Career Smarts Masterclass the last week of next month. And then also tune in next Wednesday night. And we're going to have our Brown Girl Ambition series with the one and only Miss Activate Worldwide, Lucinda Cross. And she's going to be talking to us about
Lucinda. Yeah, she's awesome.
The bag. Yeah, she's going to be, talking to us entrepreneurs about how to secure the bag. So, and just to kind of kick it off, because she's going to be here on June 30th. So we're kind of kicking off month. Nice. A month from the date she's coming.
That's nice.
She'll be here to also to share with us in person about how to secure the bag as entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about that. So that's our Brown Girl Ambition series, which will be next week. So until then, you guys have an awesome, awesome rest of the week. Yes. And we will talk to you soon.
Awesome.
Bye.